Wednesday, August 22nd. My name is Karen Maxwell. I'm Plan Section Chief Trainee. Just a reminder, I want to have you guys look at the 202 in your IAPs and remind your staff of the objectives for the operational period. Keep everybody on track of why we're here. I'm going to turn it over to Tom, our incident meteorologist, and let him give us weather.
Hey, good morning. Tom Bird, incident meteorologist. And so we'll take a look at Wednesday's weather. Well, here's the current satellite imagery across the state and across the South United States. And you can see that not a whole lot of clouds over Texas. And you can see that clockwise rotation coming out of New Mexico across Colorado and Kansas. And that's indicated, it shows the high pressure that's sitting over the state right now. Some of those light spots over the state, you can see there are a few thunderstorms in progress and a couple going across the panhandle as we speak. There's the lightning for the last 12 hours. It shows really strongly just we had a lot of activity here in far deep East Texas along the upper Texas coast, Beaumont, Houston, extending across Austin and up towards Abilene and into Lubbock and the High Plains area this afternoon. But most of the activity was right where we anticipated it would be in that south and central portions of Texas. There's what the precipitation profile looked like yesterday across the state. Again, most of the rain was down here in southeast Texas and into central, the far eastern hill country. Not a lot. There was some isolated spots that did get up to an inch, but they were real isolated. Most of that area got less than a quarter of an inch where it did rain. There's the 7-day look at precipitation, and if you look back to what we've been seeing, there was a lot more green on the map. So as we go further and we start to strip out some of those later days that had more precipitation, you see we're starting to dry a bit across the state, and you can see almost no rain across the southern portion of Texas over the last 7 days. So here's our highlights for today and going forward. That front that's been in the state and kind of focusing that precipitation. In fact, yesterday's precipitation also, it's dissipating now. It's now a warm front, and it's kind of pushing back north out of the state. It's becoming less and less of a factor and less of a focusing mechanism for additional storms. To the north and east of that, we'll have that dry continental air coming in from the northeast, and to the south and west, we'll have a strong southwesterly flow across the state. They'll be pumping that Gulf moisture back in. The week ahead, high pressure persists over the state, and that will mean hot and mostly dry conditions for the week ahead. And then finally, the temperatures will be above and well above normal with a lot of 100-degree readings across central and south Texas. And then it'll be getting drier, and we'll see that here in just a second with the relative humidity starting to lower across the state. So that's what it's going to look like today, and then going through the week. That's the mid and upper level layers of the atmosphere, and a big pressure center of high pressure has settled over the state. And it's just going to sit there and kind of indicate what kind of weather we'll see through the week. This is the surface map forecast for this afternoon, and you can see that's that warm front that I was just talking about that's kind of just slowly tracking back to the north and east. You have the Gulf flow across most of the state now from the southeast, bringing Gulf moisture in, but we're still pretty dry over east and north Texas right there. The green indicates where they think there'll be some rainfall this afternoon, but that's not where I think there'll be rain. I'll show that in a minute. This is the Texas Tech high-resolution model, and this is projecting where the storms will be this afternoon. And this model has been nailing it every day, and so I'm really having, that's why I'm showing it so much, because I have pretty good confidence that this is going to be the case. So that's pretty much lines up with that warm front. To the north and east, we have the northeast flow that's drier, and down here to the south and west of this front, you having some onshore flow that pulls the moisture in. With that high pressure, it tries to squelch a lot of the storms, and it will, but it won't be able to squelch them all. So we'll still see some activity south and west of that line across the central Texas coast, parts of the hill country, and going up into the high plains. All right, and there's a another look at what the models think the rain will look like this afternoon, but I think there'll be a little bit more storm coverage. Looking at today's temperatures, getting hotter, more 100-degree temperatures across central and south Texas and everywhere else. We're at least in the 90s and a lot of upper and mid 90s across the state. To the south, where there's a lot of humidity and warmer temperatures, we'll have some heat indices, 100 to 108 or so. Relative humidities are coming down from previous days. We can see now here we got a lot of 20% range relative humidities in the afternoon, with the 30s over most of east and south Texas, and then we'll have some 40s just right there along the coast, but much drier, as you can tell, and there's even going to be some teens out west in the Trans-Pecos. On the right-hand side are your winds for this afternoon. You can see most of the state will have south-southeast over there on the right, and then northeast as you're into far east Texas. Those wind speeds today will be lighter as you move east in the state, at the 5 to 10 range. But as you come more west and south and into the panhandle areas, you're looking at 10 to 15 this afternoon. And then on the left-hand side, you see the gust. You could have gusts to 20 across the western and southern portions of the state. There's what I think the precipitation is going to look like, and that goes back to that Texas Tech model that I showed you earlier. Oh, so sorry. Wow, I really messed that up. How did I do that? This is where I think we'll see a lot of the precipitation. It will be isolated within this area and then also across the panhandle. And that concludes the weather for the day. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Ashley Johnson, working in operations. Yesterday we had 2 new fires, the Strayer Fire in Gillespie County for 100 acres. It's 90% contained. We will have crews returning this morning. And then we had the 443 fire in Limestone County for 7.2 acres. It's 100% contained with estimated control date tomorrow at 1700. And then the holdover fire, the Graham Ranch in Karnes County for 392 acres. It's 100% contained with control date tomorrow at 1700 as well. The 204s are updated and correct, so if you have any concerns or corrections needing made, please let us know. Have a good day.
Mickey Button, I'm doing safety here. We'd like to say we had no accident or injuries yesterday. I know I sound like a broken record, but I like to sound like a broken record on that part of it. We did have, a couple days ago, we had a volunteer fire department person that went down. He had some heat-related problems, and it was due to the excessive heat we had out there. So I want everybody to keep drinking the water. I always say, drink water, drink water, drink water, drink water, and do what? Drink more water. So but drinking water is not the only thing that's going to keep you going out there. You're going to have to stop and take your breaks. And I know I've said this over and over, but you know, if your body core temperature gets above 105, you go into a heat stroke, and that's very serious out there. And even if you go down with dehydration, you can have problems the rest of your life with some of that stuff. It could affect your body. We've had people that's had it, and then they've had trouble with their bodies the rest of their life because they had to take medicine, stuff like that. So any heat-related thing is very serious out there. So that's the reason we push it so hard to keep you from doing that. I'd like to go to page 109, 110, especially some of the crews maybe that it's not running fires right now, and everybody, but look at 109, 110, help you recognize the symptoms of heat-related problems out there and what to do about it, because you need to get help to the person pretty fast. We need to make sure if they're getting dehydrated that we get them get water in them, cool them off, and have to get them to the hospital or get them to transport and get some IVs on them there. Fire behavior is talking about 107.5 degree temperature. Humidity is getting down in the 20% range. A little bit of wind, 11 mile an hour. So that means the fires that we went to a few days ago, that, maybe didn't do a whole lot, may do a whole lot today, because you got the humidity back down, you got just a little bit of wind in it. So don't take it for granted you're going out there, the fire's not really going to do anything. It could get up and run, especially if it's got some heavier fuel, or fine fuels are drying out, but also 100 hours are beginning to dry back out again too. So be careful when you're out there on that. And then the third part would be, again, the old word complacency. During times that we don't run fires, we kind of get complacent. When our backing accidents and our driving accidents start to increase, we have a tendency, we back the engines up and not put a spotter out there, or we don't pay as much attention when we're driving down the roads and stuff like that. So let's don't let that happen. And just so I can come up here tomorrow and say, hey, we had no accidents or injuries again today. Thank you for safety.
PIO trainee Stuart Morris here. So just a reminder, it is hot out there, so stay well hydrated, keep a situational awareness of the weather conditions and the temperature outside. And if you have any videos or photos that you take out in the field, please send them to photos@tfs.tamu.edu. Thank you.
Well, good morning. Les Rogers, IC for the team. Just want to reemphasize what safety and what Tom has highlighted is, as we started to see greenness start to set over the state last 2 weeks up here. They've seen yellowness down this way. So keep that in mind. If we start to pop fires, we'll be shifting resources. There is a pocket down here that we're concerned about. Looking at the PSAs, they're starting to get elevated into that high category, not really above the 97th percentile yet, but we're watching that area. Rich and I have been calling it the sleeper area, so we're just waiting on that ignition. And so just keep that in mind and watch out for those heat indexes. When we start talking about triple-digit heat from Waco south, we got a little bit of humidity down there, especially those of us that are from the western part of the state or the western part of the country. You'll go down there and you'll start just walking out to get a new cup of coffee. So anyway, make sure that you hydrate, you check your electrolytes, you alternate your electrolytes replacements out there, and watch out for each other. Accountability. So we got reminded of that yesterday. Everybody bugged out of finance and left one behind. So make sure if you're out there online today that y'all watch out for each other. Y'all have a good, safe day. Thanks.
All right, everyone, go ahead and make sure you turn your phones back on, go out and have a safe day, and do good work. Thanks.